All right, let's get rocking and rolling. We're gonna get started now, tiny bit early. If you're not early, you're late. It's definitely true for sales and for life in general. So let's see. Maybe we'll give this. Let's give this one-ish more minutes, and then I'll jump right into the questions and provide the best answers I have for everybody. Since we're like a handful of people that are tuned in live on this stream. If you're just coming in, use chat to let me know where in the world you are watching from, and feel free to write in your questions early. The earlier you put them in, the safer it is that you're gonna get some answers from me. Okay. All right, rock and roll time. So before we get started with the how to do sales during COVID-19 Q&A sales session today, I want to welcome all of you. Please make sure to use the chat function to let me know where in the world you're watching from and to ask any and all questions that you have. We had a ton of people pre-submit their questions for today's session. So I'm going to be going through a lot of these questions and try to answer them as best as I can. But I'm going to give people that are live in the stream a priority. So if you have questions or if you have follow-up questions to anything that I'll say today, make sure to use the chat function to drop in your question. I'll try my best to answer. A quick disclaimer. I think you're all smart enough to know this already, but I'll say it anyways. Obviously, nobody has ever experienced anything like we're experiencing right now in the world. I'm not excluded from that. So I'm not really an authority on selling through COVID-19. I don't have all the answers. And some of my answers may or may not work for you, your business, your market, your country specifically. Take what I have as a resource to try new ideas, to adjust your mindset, to test new things. But at the end of the day, it's always going to require you to go out there in the market, to try things, to see what works for you in your business and what doesn't. All I can offer is the knowledge that we've accumulated over the last couple of weeks from lots and lots of founders, from tons of sales teams that are telling us what is working and what isn't working for them. And all that knowledge in an accumulated fashion, I'm going to try to make available to you today. And my now, 20 plus years of experience of doing sales myself, leading sales teams, running sales companies in the sales organization, and going through a number of crisis situations with that specifically. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into it. Okay, so first question that was submitted. How can I send an email to my clients that will make them interested in what I'm selling during this COVID-19 situation? It's a great question. How do you send emails that capture people's attention and imagination? Well, a couple of things. I would say that number one, you might have to just accept some parts of reality. And one of them is that maybe right now, depending on who you're selling to, maybe your general open and click-through rates are just going to be lower because people are reading their emails less frequently or less engaged with their email. Or depending on the market that you're in, they might be getting a lot of emails or a lot more emails than they usually do. That's going to be rare, but it might appear or happen in your specific market or for your specific buyer. But just because numbers might be lower than usual, it doesn't mean that they're useless, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be sending out emails. Quite the contrary, I think that you cannot and should never stop communicating with your prospects, and especially during a crisis like this, you cannot go quiet. That's the number one rule. You cannot go quiet in the market. You have to show up every single day. You have to make some noise. You have to reach out to people. You have to have conversations. You have to have calls. You have to have Zoom conversations. You have to interact with people on social media. You have to be a participant in the marketplace. You can't go quiet just because things are hard, just because things are a bit more, let's say, stable. So with that in mind, what kind of emails can you write to people right now to keep them engaged, keep people or help people from wanting to read your message? I've written a book about this, and if you send me an email at stelly@close.com and you just say bundle in the subject line, I'm going to send you a link. That link will lead you to my entire library, over 10 books on selling, digital books that you can download and read within a day or two that are full packed with ideas, strategies, and tactics. And one of them is how to write compelling cold email copy, right? It's an art form, and if you master it, if you learn it, it's going to benefit you and pay dividends really for your entire life. But there's a few rules that are now more important than ever. Number one is to remember that it all starts with a subject line. Your subject line is the most important piece of your entire email. And unfortunately, most people think because the subject line is the least amount of text, that needs to be thought about the least. And they spend all their time thinking about the body of the email and very little time thinking about the subject line. Well, if I see your subject line in my inbox and it's not compelling, I will never open the email. And hence, I will never read any of the beautiful text and copy that you've written. So the subject line is key and core to everything you do. Optimize that first. Write something in the subject line that ideally is compelling and that raises curiosity, that makes the person that sees it go, I want to know more, and then clicks on it. And then make sure that whatever you promised in the subject line, you deliver in the email, right? A lot of people ask me, Stelly, what would be the best subject line hack to make people open the email? And I tell them, well, just write, I have your parents in my basement with their gun at their head. You're going to get a really high open rate. The problem is that, and I'm sure not even people that have parents will open it, but people that don't have parents will open it too, right? Just to see what the hell is going on. But just because you made me open the email doesn't make me want to start a conversation and maintain a relationship with you. If you lie to me in the subject line, I'm going to know, I'm going to remember, and I'm going to want to avoid you for the rest of my life. So make sure that you write short subject lines, not super long, compelling, curiosity, increasing subject lines, but still somehow related to what you're delivering in the email. I get a lot of emails right now that have COVID-19 in the subject line. That may or may not be good. People at this point might be saturated. If I see another email that says, what we are doing about COVID-19, like I just assume that those are generic emails that I can safely ignore and I move on with life. So make sure that you write something compelling. Oftentimes adding a question mark at the end of the subject line will make a big difference. And then in the email itself, use as little fluff as possible. So make it short. Don't waste people's time. And get straight to the point. I see emails right now that are like 4 paragraphs long that are all about, well, this is a terrible time. Have you seen the news? We are also, painfully aware of what is transpiring in the world, and yada, yada, yada. They keep going on and on and on about the problem. And I'm like, listen, I already read enough negative news. I already know what's going on in the world. Who are you and what the hell do you want from me? So get to the point. Get to the, what is this about and why should I care? And then answer the question, what do I need to do next, right? So you tell me, what is this about? Why should I care right now, even during this pandemic? Why should I believe you? And what do I need to do next? Keep it short and simple and keep it value-based. And you'll see much better results than a lot of emails right now that are just so full of fluff, that are just so full of, being verbose in the language because people are insecure. So they're sending these COVID-19 emails and they just like go on and on and on and on and on about the problems in the world and the empathy that we have, all these things. And I go, okay, I get it, but who are you? What do you want from me? Why does it matter to me right now during this pandemic? And what do I need to do next? Get to the point, please. We've put together actually a resource for all of you, for people that are wondering, how do I send effective emails, cold emails, sales emails during COVID-19? We have collected some of the best sales emails during this crisis and put it together in a templated format book for you to download. And you can get that. Just send me an email, stelly@close.com, say resources, say bundle. I'll know who you are and what you need. I'll get you some good inspiration on how to write compelling sales emails during COVID-19. All right, next question. The last month, we've been sent to the shit to all HR managers, as most companies are reducing to zero or near zero all extra benefits expenditures. Thus, we've been providing help with a different product than text filing. But we need to sell again text filing products, right? Because that's our core business. How do we sell again our core product right now or ASAP and don't wait forever until budgets have freed up again? I've talked about this a couple of times before. The truth and reality is that it doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what you care about. If budgets are truly frozen in your space, in your market, with your buyers right now, you're going to have to find workarounds. Now, it seems like this person that asked the question has one workaround where they help the customers with a different product or a different service. That's awesome. The next thing I'll tell you as a tip is you want to use this time to fill up your funnel. You want to use this time to add as much opportunity as many prospects into your funnel as possible and keep them as warm as possible during this time. So the moment the budgets are freed up again, you can convert a ton of business. So what does that mean? Let's say that typically your sales cycle looks like this. You have to have two, exploratory calls to qualify the prospect, to gain more information inside. Then you do a third call, which is a demo call. Then typically there's a follow-up to the demo call with questions and answers. Then typically you have to propose a pilot, and there's a call around that. Then there is a pilot rollout. Then there's some customization training you have to do. And at the end of the pilot, they buy or they don't buy. Well, why not use this downtime to propose doing all these steps free of charge, so that these businesses and these potential buyers can use this downtime to retool their business, to change and update and improve on their technology stack, and to find real opportunity and to do all the heavy lifting that they normally never have time for. The demoing, the using the software, the integrating it, the uploading the data, that doing all the heavy lifting until they are seen and proven that your product is going to give them a ton of benefit. And then maybe you give them the chance to try or to keep using the product until budgets are freed up again. And then when they're freed up, they have to pay you. That way you can do all the initial calls, the demos, the setup, the training, the teaching, and you can use this time to just create as many warm prospects as possible and convince as many people as possible. You know what? Once we have money again, we're going to be using this solution. This solution is going to save us money or make us money. I understand that that's not paying your bills today, but if you can get somebody's money, the second best thing you can do is you can get their attention that will later lead to money. Instead of not doing anything, you want to build up your pipeline and add more and more and more and more things on top. So once things are resuming back to a new normal, you can be in business and top of mind. I hope that makes sense. Again, for everybody who's in here, lots of people have submitted their questions. I'm going to go through a lot of them, but if you have any follow-up question to anything I say or any questions you haven't submitted to us and to me yet, you can always use the chat to do so. All right. Next question. I got promoted relatively recently, sales manager for 6 years before. Team was underperforming, all went remote for COVID, UK in total lockdown. Now struggling to get buy-in or engagement from my team. Very much an I tell you if I need coaching or help attitude. And many of them say, I'll tell you if I need coaching, and I don't. My team seems to prefer hitting activities, then blaming outside influences rather than aggressively trying to improve anyway. We love some tips on better managing attitude remotely without coming across as patronizing. Well, this is a tough one. Whenever you are insert it into a team that you didn't hire, that you didn't build, that has a culture that might be already corrupt, you really need to think of yourself as a turnaround manager. Your job is not to appease people. Your job is to turn around the culture drastically. Now, this being in the middle of a crisis makes this even harder than it would already be. So here's the deal. You're going to have to take some risks. Either your sales team is going to fail because they're not performing well, the culture isn't good, and then you're going to be let go. Or you might be let go because you're too radical in your turnaround approach. People are going to be too upset and unhappy with you, and so the company will ultimately not like that pressure and push you away. So one way or another, you have a lot of risk on your shoulders. If you ask me, if I was in this situation, I'd rather take the risk of giving it my all and turning it around and doing something beautiful and something truly valuable versus just not wanting to annoy or upset anybody and therefore not rocking the boat. So what I would say is, number one, in a crisis, you always want to lead from the front. So don't just tell them what to do, show them. Show them by doing it better than them. Show them by doing things differently from them that generate results. The other thing I'll tell you is try to find a champion in the team. Is really everybody in that sales team equally uninterested in you, equally corrupted in their attitude, equally ineffective in how they work? Or is there maybe somebody in the team that's newer or younger in their career, or is generally more excited or more open to change? If you can find somebody that you can be your way in, instead of trying to change everybody at once, you just focus on that one rep that you build a very close relationship with and that you work with to try these new things, to get daily coaching, to sync up, to try new things, and then you get that person to perform better. And once you demonstrate, wow, look, him and I, we're doing these things differently and they're generating different results, you're going to be able to get more and more buy-in. Typically, a team like this, a sales team, will have a couple of really vocal voices and everybody else will be a follower. The vocal voices, you usually will find somebody that's overly optimistic, excited, open for change, wanting to be on your good side and wanting to help you. And there's going to be maybe 1, 2, or 3 people, like a couple of people that are overly negative, always cynical, always criticizing. What you're going to have to do is focus first on the positive one and get them on your side and help that person succeed and outperform. And then you need to have a really stern word with these people that are pushing back on all the positive change that you're trying to instill into the sales team, and give them an ultimatum. Tell them, I know that your way of thinking might work in many other companies and teams. In this, it won't anymore. I understand you have a lot of experience. I understand you have a lot of skills, but I'm going to build a truly different and new sales team, and we want to scale the sales team. And so we need everybody to follow a certain procedure, and I'm going to need you to buy into this. And with your experience and your expertise, you're going to be a multiplier. You're going to show everybody how this new system that we're developing together, how that's going to benefit everybody. If you can buy in, you're going to be a rock star. I'm going to make you successful, and you're going to be influential in the growth of the company and the team, and it's going to benefit you. If you're not on board with it, I totally get it, but then we need to part ways and find you a better home, because this is happening if you like it or not. And then you see most of them will not want to change, and then you're going to have to part ways with them, right? Again, this is not easy. This is very difficult. It's very risky. I'm not saying that it's an easy strategy, but it's the right strategy. And so you first focus on the salesperson that is up for the challenge, open for change. You help that person succeed. Then you focus on the ones that try to sabotage you, and you give them an ultimatum. Either you get with the program, or we're gonna have to part ways. And then you might gonna have to downsize the team to a new version of it. And with that, you're gonna recreate and create a new culture, a new way of working, a new way of communicating. But you want to lead from the front. You want to demonstrate it by generating some results, some sales yourself. You want to teach it to somebody on the team that's open to learn and open for change. And then you want to cut off the ones that are destroying value, the ones that are sabotaging what you're trying to build in this new team, in this new culture. And then you move on with life. That's really what it is. There you go. Yes, I didn't have a chance to change. So this is my workout shirt from SBG Island. There you go. I went there, I think 2 or 3 times for a private session. It's not really that I'm an expert in it, but I appreciate you noticing. All right, next question. Boom, boom, boom. I have to make calls and hit up clients to keep an activity going. Working in tourism, ouch. Clients are very hurt from the situation and not sure they're going to have a season this year or that they could start operating again before 2021. But we still have to keep in touch. I can totally understand that my prospects find it inappropriate when I call them now. Even if I say I just want to get news and see how things are going. Needless to say, it would be outrageous to talk about my product. So how do you make sure you are remembered from a prospect you were already in touch with, and how do you create new connections with people you've never called before when it's such a very different and challenging business environment and so hard to talk about business these days? That's such a beautiful question, and this is truly a difficult time. If you're selling to tourism businesses, ouch, that's tough. That is very, very tough. But I'll share just a few thoughts here with you. Number one, so when you talk to people today, just like I'm doing this live stream, this Q&A session, I hope I come across sincere and authentic. I'm not fake positive. I'm not pretending that the world is not in a really difficult place. I'm not pretending that everything is perfect. I'm not like a fake sleazy salesperson like, hello, dear prospect, what's new in the world? Yada, yada, yada. Nobody wants to deal with any of that fake shit. And it's even more annoying when anxieties are so high and when people are really, really insecure. I get it. So don't be a fake positive person. But also don't be apologetic. Nobody wants to have to deal with somebody that's insecure right now. Don't call people and go, well, hello, I'm kind of sorry to be bothering you. I know it's a difficult time. You probably don't have time. And I also don't know if what I offer is helpful. Well, why the fuck did you call me then? Right? I already have, most of us, we have enough calls every day with loved ones, with family, with friends, with colleagues that are anxiety inducing. A lot of calls, a lot of information that we're consuming these days are making us more anxious, more stressed. What we don't need is a salesperson calling us stressed and anxious to just make us even more stressed and anxious. This is not going to help anybody. You think what you are doing is showing empathy, but you're really showing weakness and you're really sucking on somebody else's energy, and energy is in short supply these days. So instead of doing that, just be energetic, be honest, real. Don't be, fluffy positive, but be energetic. Have some enthusiasm, some energy, because it's energy that we all need during these days and that we could use more of than anything else. Like talking to somebody that's straight, that's real, that's authentic, but that has energy is gonna give us a little bit of a better feeling. Hey, there are people out there that seem to be doing okay. There are people out there that still seem to be optimistic. Not fake optimistic, not optimistic because they say the word, I'm optimistic, just by their very being, right? And by the fact that they have energy and enthusiasm when they talk to me. And then, what you might want to do during this time, if people cannot really buy from you, and when people are like in the tourism industry in a space where they don't even know if there's going to be a market this year for them to make any money whatsoever, is just stay in touch, be positive, share information that might be valuable. Hey, I'm talking to lots and lots of businesses in the tourism industry. I asked a lot of them what they're doing right now, and I'm trying to share some best practices, right? I brought up this example a couple of times. My brothers were operating small retail stores in Germany, and they had to close those retail stores. And at first they thought, shit, we're not going to be able to make any more money, right? And they're self-employed. They need their stores to be open. But then what they realized was once they went into the store, they were like, well, we have the phone numbers of a lot of our customers. Maybe we just call them now and see who wants to renew their contract, who needs to buy a product. And they just started doing call acquisition, and some amount of customers wanted to buy, and they were like grateful that they got the call and said, you know what, I didn't want to come to your store because I knew it was closed. But cool that you're calling. Yeah, I need something. And then they would organize for my brothers to just drive to those people's offices or homes and drop the product, or they would drop by the store. My brothers would work out of the store, just open it and give them the product, right? And they had a fantastic month, surprisingly, for themselves as well. They made a ton of money. Now, I know that, and there's another example. This is an example that I should share more frequently. I just learned this recently. There was a shoe store, a small local shoe store, where the owner decided to start making masks, right? Making masks that are not like clinically proven, but they're still, useful and valuable. It's still something that's in demand. A tiny little leather and shoe store. And the demand for masks is so high, and he made some beautiful masks, that there's literally 24/7, there's like a huge line outside his store. And when you went in, he would have like a couple of people in the back making the masks, and he would sell them at a great margin. It'd be busy as hell. And when he was asked, hey, is it allowed for you to have your shoe and leather store open right now? He said no. And we had multiple times police stop by, but they are afraid to close the store because they know I'm helping people, and they don't want to close the store. And we shipped hundreds of masks to all kinds of retiree homes and hospitals for free. And we have all these, they had all these thank you letters from all these places. And so he's like, I don't understand how all the other shoe and leather stores are not doing the same thing, because they are not. I'm the only one in town that does this. This is creative thinking. And this is something that, if you are calling and talking to lots of people in an industry, you can learn what is working, what isn't working, how they're feeling, what they're trying, what they're hearing from others in the industry, and accumulate and share that information with people, right? Try to be helpful and useful in any and every way possible, and just check in with people and tell them, how are you doing? How are you holding up? How is financially going? What are your thoughts? What are you going to do in the next 2 to 3 months? And then a month later, you're like, hey, the world has changed again. A lot of new things have happened in the last couple of weeks. What's your current outlet? By the way, I just talked to somebody that's in the tourism industry, and they tried this new thing that looks promising. I wanted to tell you first. Maybe you want to try that again. Just turn yourself into a resource and try to be as valuable and helpful as possible. I'm telling you, no matter what the industry is, there are people hurting and there are people winning. And you want to find the people that are winning and be in business with them, but you also want to learn from them, and then go to the people that are hurting and share that knowledge with them, teach them, help them, give them hope, give them ideas, give them energy, and they will remember you forever. Okay, next question. I'll take a question. Hey, I got a few nice comments from Christoph. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm going to take a question from the chat before I return back to the questions that people submitted beforehand. Hey, Stelly, what key questions should we be asking over the phone at the moment? What is the best one-liner to engage the prospect on the phone right now? I don't know if I have a one-liner, to be honest with you, Jasmine, because it depends so much on your country, your culture, your buyer, their culture, and their mind state right now. But I would say that telling people, hey, I know that your industry is hurting right now. I've been talking to a lot of the leaders in your space just to learn what everybody's thinking, what everybody's doing, and I'm trying to share that information as much as possible. I have some interesting things that I've learned over the last couple of days that made me want to call you and just chat with you. But before I share any of that, how are you doing? And then how are you currently dealing with the situation? What's your current day-to-day look like? Don't ask people open-ended questions during uncertain times. Don't ask open-ended questions during uncertain times because it's overwhelming. Don't ask them, how are you? It's a difficult question to answer. I can either say fine or I can say shit. I don't know how to answer that question. It's a complicated one, right? It's so all-encompassing. But asking me, how are you operating right now day to day? Do you open your store, your business at all? Are you working at all or not at all? Are you still checking your emails or not? What are you thinking about the next 4 weeks? What's your plan? What are you waiting for? What key things are you waiting for? Is it the government that has to reopen your business? Is it getting the loan or support from the government bank that you applied for? Is it your employer unfreezing the budget? Is it school opening so you can send your 25 kids back to school and you can find your sanity? But asking them, what is your day-to-day look like right now? How do you operate right now? And what are the next 4 weeks like? And what are the things you're waiting for as signals in the market? What are the core things that you are waiting for that you're looking at? Asking people, what's your outlook on the future long term? Do you think this is going to destroy things forever? Or do you think we're going to resume really quickly? Or do you think it's going to be somewhere in the middle? What is your outlook? How positive or negative, how hopeful or in distress are you when you think about the future of your space in your market, in your country? And these few questions can already give you a lot of information, a lot of data. It tells you what they're doing right now, how they're spending their day, how busy they are or not busy they are, what they're doing and what they're working on or not working on. It's going to tell you what their outlook is for the next 4 weeks. That gives you relevant and useful information. And what signals they're waiting for, right? What are the signals they're waiting for? Are they waiting for a government to announce something? Are they waiting other companies in their industry to do something? Are they waiting for their boss to say or do or decide something? What are the key things they're waiting for that then inform that they can kind of change, adapt, or resume business as normal? And then the most meta question is that what is their outlook? Some people have a very positive outlook. Some people have a very negative outlook. Those people are somewhere in the middle. But you want to know, because if you talk to somebody that has a highly positive outlook over the future, that person is going to be much more energized and willing to take actions and make decisions right now, versus somebody that has an incredibly negative outlook over the future. That person is going to be, empty of energy, empty of decision-making power, and that person is not going to want to hear from you a lot or make any decisions or do anything. So keep these things in mind, right? But these are some of the questions that you can ask right now that might be really helpful. All right, another question. How do you sell when you are the underdog startup, when you know your product is not the best overall, but has potential getting there? Well, I know a thing or two about that. We've been selling, clothes. We are a very big business by any metric, but we are a very small team, 45 people, driving double-digit millions in revenue a year and growing really well. And we are competing as the smallest team in a very, very competitive market. I'll tell you this, Christoph. The way you compete as a tiny player is by moving faster and by offering things in a customized way for a certain type of customer that your big competitors can't and won't, right? So the number one competitive advantage that you have is you. You're the founder. You have a tremendous amount of expertise typically, and you're going to service this client. Versus if they go with a company of 100,000 people, some junior sales rep, some generic salesperson is going to talk to them all the time, and then maybe some sales engineer later, and maybe then some support person somewhere else in the world. They're not going to get the CEO or the founder to think about them, to talk to them, to work with them every single day. And maybe you don't have the prestige of saying, I'm the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar business, but maybe what you can say is, hey, I have 10 years of experience in this space. I'm highly technical, and I've innovated the solution in the market. I know everything about the market. I know everything about all the products that are out there. I'm going to be more honest, more straight. I'm going to be faster, more effective, cheaper, and I'm going to be available and accessible to you. So that way, that's your competitive advantage. Your size is a benefit. It means you move faster, you offer less bullshit, you're cheaper, and you are more knowledgeable. You have more expertise than most of the people that a typical customer will have to deal with in a large and generic company. All right, next question from Mexico City. When do you think CEOs will reopen job vacancies? We are headhunters. Wow, yeah, that's a tough question. Let me take a sip of my coffee here. All right. Well, Israel, I don't know. Right? I mean, that's the obvious answer. I don't know. I have no idea. I know that there's a small portion in every market that is growing. We have customers, a lot of our customers are letting go people, but a tiny amount of our customers are hiring lots and lots of people. There are companies right now in the world that are selling a lot and that are scaling. Anything that has to do with home gym equipment, anything that has to do with canned food, anything that has to do with decorating or changing homes, anything that has to do with digital collaboration or working remotely, and so on and so forth. There's many industries that are growing and where companies are hiring. I don't know if you can pivot and focus on some of these companies right now and help them with their hiring needs, even if it's in industries that you typically didn't help. Don't know. Maybe, maybe not. When it comes to when is your industry going to start hiring again, I would just survey those CEOs. I would just talk to them the way that I outlined with those the framework of questions. What does your day-to-day look like right now? What does it look like the next 4 to 8 weeks? What are the core indicators in the market that you are waiting for before you start hiring again? What's your general outlook in the world? But it might be that in your industry, I don't know the future. I don't know what it holds for you. But let's say in the worst case scenario, let's say that you are in an industry that might be hurting for the next 6 months, 9 months, and maybe there's not going to be any hiring for the next 12 months. How the hell do you survive that? That's the core question you have to ask yourself right now. And my answer to this, probably with limited knowledge, would be find, pivot, change, adapt. In times of crisis, listen, it's not the strongest that survive. It's the most adaptable that survive. And never is that more true of a statement than in a crisis. It's the one that are most adaptable that will survive and thrive during this time. It's not the biggest and not the strongest. So maybe you have to pivot and start doing recruiting and headhunting for other companies. Maybe you have to change your business model on headhunting. Maybe you need to do something completely different for a while before you can return to headhunting. I do not know. Maybe you have to go into other countries and other markets and offer your talent locally, but remotely now, since that is a new reality that maybe companies are going to be open for. Hey, we used to not want to hire people from Europe. We're a US-based company. But now that all of our employees are working from home and working remotely, and we need more people, maybe now we're willing to hire a bunch of incredibly skilled workers or people in Europe for much cheaper than usual. I don't know what it is, but you have to be adaptable. You have to change and try to find ways. But if you're waiting for an answer, like I think in 3 months companies are going to start hiring again, I just can't say it because I don't know. I honestly just don't know. All right, next question. So hi from Turkey. It's always good to see some fellow friends from Turkey in here. I'll take another one that was pre-submitted. I have tons of them. All right, let me scroll through here. I'm going to answer this really easily. How to sell without being insensitive given the current times? Don't worry about being insensitive. Be honest, be truthful, be direct. Business has to resume. You have to remember that you not selling and you not working is not making the world a safer place. And it's not making the world a better place. If I don't sell anymore, if I don't work anymore, who is that helping? That makes my career more under threat. This is making my income more under threat. Therefore, it makes my family situation more under threat. It makes also everybody else that works in my company in a less stable position because I'm not driving revenue for the business anymore. How is me not selling helping anybody? It's not helping anyone. Now, don't be fake. Don't be aggressive. Don't be desperate. I've seen this a couple of times where people, because they're stressed out and because they are afraid, they become desperate salespeople. Now, that's a problem, right? That's a problem. Don't be desperate. People never like selfishness, but in the times like this, these people are even more sensitive to selfishness. So if people can feel that you are highly selfish in what you are asking them to do and what you want from them, they're going to remember and they're going to be upset and they're not going to forgive. But if they feel like you're sincere and energetic and hopeful and trying to help and trying to find ways to keep a business relationship going, developing, strengthening relationships that later will lead to commerce, or maybe even today will lead to commerce, people will appreciate that. I'll tell you one thing. I'll let you in on one secret. When this crisis hit, we realized that so most of our customers pay month to month, right? We're a subscription service. When the crisis hit, we realized that focusing on selling contracts to people, like getting people to sign a 1 or 2 year contract and then pay monthly, is a bad idea. Because during a crisis, if a company is going to be destabilized and go out of business, the contract doesn't mean anything. And if they're close to being bankrupt and have to stop making payments to not go bankrupt, our contract isn't going to mean anything. You're not going to go and sue companies during a pandemic like this because they're not paying you on time. You're just not going to do that. So selling contracts is useless. But prepays are incredibly useful for us, right? Cash is king, especially in a crisis. So we started offering and aggressively focusing on prepays. telling customers, listen, if you prepay for a whole year today, you're going to get an amazing deal from us. And the proposition is really simple. Now, I know lots of people thought, that's ridiculous. How could you ask customers to wire you a whole year's worth of money already in such an uncertain time? Nobody's going to want that. Well, let me tell you, lots of people want that. Last month was our highest record in prepays. Every single day, customers decide to prepay us for a whole year. Every single day. Not all customers, but many. The rationale is very simple. If you buy now during these uncertain times, you're going to get an amazing deal. If you don't want to buy now during these uncertain times, I understand it. We will wait till the world is less uncertain, till the world is more stable and sane. And then you can buy at a more normal price. So it's a risk-reward thing. You take a higher risk by purchasing now and prepaying. You get a higher reward by getting an unbeatable price. You wait till the world is normal again, you get a normal price. And most people will want to wait till the world is normal. That's fine. But most people doesn't mean all people. As I've told you, we are generating tons and tons of prepaid cash flow for our business just because we're offering our customers this deal. So don't be too nervous about doing commerce. And I see this all the time. People are so worried of being insensitive and so worried about coming across in a bad way that they stop living, stop working, and stop selling, and nothing good will come out of that. All right, next question. I will remember the name, Christoph. Right, very good. Let's see. Let's take this question. I'm working for the largest content marketing in MENA. We prepared special packs for this period, but our prospects are always postponing their decisions. We want to overcome this. We always try to hit them from their pain point, but I think this is not enough. They don't want to pay annually. They think that it's a risk, no matter the discount. Well, maybe maybe you cannot sell to your specific customer this specific product in prepaid. So what are your options? Either you don't, and you try to find other ways to sell it, maybe sell smaller packages, maybe now for the first time offer monthly payment if you didn't offer it before. Or maybe you look for a different customer. You ask yourself, who needs content marketing that is not in the industry that we've been doing content marketing before, that is in an industry that is growing now, or that has a lot of money right now, or that is in an industry that's much more hopeful about the future, right? Selling to, somebody that's running a tourism company might be really, really, really skeptical that the next 3 years will be good or 4 years will be good. But somebody that's selling a fitness app or home fitness equipment or medical supplies or whatever, collaboration software, those companies might be much, much more hopeful about the future. So maybe you want to look for a different vertical or industry, or maybe you want to stay in your vertical industry, but go up or down market. Maybe you want to go to much bigger companies than you usually talk to and see if they want to give you money, or much smaller companies and see if they want to give you money, right? We just had a pitch. We worked with an SEO agency a while back. They're really, really good. And they just made a pitch that was very data-driven and very compelling, where they said, hey, now's the time to invest in SEO and organic. It takes 6 to 9 months anyways to get the benefits of any kind of big SEO project. If you do it now while everybody else is stopping their budgets, when the world resumes, you're going to be the #1 results in all these different competitive, for these competitive terms. And your business is going to see tremendous growth by that investment. And here's the amount of money it would take you for us to do this work for you. And we think it's worth it. And they made a very, very good plan. Oh, content marketing platform, not agency. Cool. All right, that's fair. Well, maybe a lot of content marketing agencies can sell their services. I guarantee you there are some that are. There are content marketers or content marketing agencies or companies doing content marketing somewhere around this world that are spending money. You just have to find them. And if you can't find them, you need to pivot and find something else to sell or do during this time. There's really no better answer, although it's sometimes frustrating. It comes back to what I said earlier. The most adaptable are those that survive. So we all have to be more adaptable during these times, much more so than we are used to. This whole thing has messed with all of our plans. Nobody saw this coming. I had a completely different plan for my year. I wanted to do something completely different for our company. We had such plans that were totally different. But it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. The world does not care about my feelings or my plans. And me sitting there and complaining that my old plans aren't working in the new reality is not going to help me. So I have to adjust. I have to experiment. I have to adapt. And sometimes it's just going to be a little pivot and things will keep moving again. And sometimes you're going to have to do a 360 change. You have to completely change what you do and who you're doing it for if you want to survive. There's just no other way around it. All right. More questions, so many more questions. Let me hit the next one, but I'll take a sip of water. All right. How do you reward and motivate a sales team in times like these? Would you change the commission approach? What perks do you suggest to use? Well, I would say that most importantly, during this time, if you want to motivate people, is be motivated. Lead from the front. Don't be cynical and negative and tell your salespeople to be positive and motivated. Have maybe more check-ins with them, especially since they are now remote. Maybe in the morning, there's a little video call, a Zoom call, where everybody is like, here's what I'm planning to accomplish today. Here are the difficult things that I'm going to attempt to do. Here are the difficult conversations that I'm going to have. Then at lunch, maybe you do another quick check-in after everybody had lunch. Okay, here's what I said in the morning I wanted to do today. Here's what really happened. Here's what I really learned. Here's my struggle. Here's my pain. Here's how I'm going to turn around the day if it didn't go that well so far, or here's how I'm going to continue building on the momentum if the first half of my day went well. And at the end of the day, you do a last check-in, 3 check-ins, 5 minutes, 10 minutes each, where you say, so how was the day and what's the plan for tomorrow? What was the learnings today? What are the things we're grateful for? What are the things we're committed to do tomorrow and to be? That's one. When it comes to commission structures, I would not pay, like we used to pay commissions for contract and contract value. So if somebody signed a 3-year deal paying us $1,000 a month, right? That's $12K a year over 3 years. That's $36,000. That's the total value of the contract. We would pay a salesperson a commission on the contract value. Well, we don't do that anymore because it's just not clear that a business is going to be around for 3-4 months because times and the economic risks are so much higher. So you might want to shift and not pay commissions for contracts anymore and only pay commissions for prepays because that's the only safe, secure thing you can do. That's something to consider. You want to pay commissions for things that your company can afford to pay. And in times that are very uncertain, you want to take as little financing risk as possible on commissions and payouts. So you don't want to, maybe in good times, when a salesperson was closing a deal, maybe you paid that salesperson 3 or 4 months of the monthly payments of that customer because you knew within 5 months, we made the commission of the sales reps and then we start making a profit. Well, in stable times, that might be a really good model, but now it's not because you are taking as a business on all of the risk of financing a salesperson for customers that might not be around 4 months or might not pay you for 4 months. So don't do any of that. Only pay sales reps something you are 100% certain you can afford and that has already arrived in your bank account. So you might want to adjust things. In some industries, companies will cut commissions totally. They will go, you know what? Right now it's impossible to close lots and lots of deals, but we still want you to be talking to customers all day long. So what we're going to do is we're going to kill commission right now, but we're going to raise your base to a level that gives you job security, allows you to know you can pay for all your bills, you're fine. And the moment the market gets better, people start paying, boom, we're going to shift back to a commission model where you can earn as much as you want and as you're capable of. So that's another thing to consider. But you definitely have to adjust what you're doing or you might get into a lot of trouble. All right, next question. What are some sales tactics to help encourage more sales on the phone and by email? We want to work smarter, not harder, as presently it feels like telephone soliciting. Yeah, I have a whole book about this. send me an email, stelliaclose.com, bundle. I'll send you all my books in one download for free. You open the cold calling ebook, you learn all the tactics and strategies, how to design the perfect script, when to call, and how to be most effective. And not just the tactics, but also the strategy and philosophy that you can use forever, because it's timeless knowledge. I'll say here that there's no hack, there's no sentence or trick or that everybody could say on the phone that will make this useful. But the best thing that I can tell you is keep calling people, and when you call them, make sure that you sound good. It's easy to underestimate how important it is to have somebody on the phone, especially during these days, that doesn't sound like a salesperson, doesn't sound fake, just sounds like somebody that has authority and that has energy, right? Somebody that sounds positive and energetic. I'll put myself on the chopping block here. Like this Q&A session right now, I hope I'm not coming across as fake positive, but I hope you feel the energy. I hope that you feel that I'm ready to do things, that I'm ready to make shit happen, that I'm optimistic because I'm ready to take action. If you bring that energy to the phone, you're going to see much better results these days than either being overly aggressive because you're insecure, or overly positive, fake positive. Hello, another wonderful day. How are you doing this beautiful day today? Like, fuck off. Fuck off. Right? Nobody wants to have any of this. Or being super whiny and afraid because you're trying to appeal and show them how empathetic you are by being like, hello, I know this is a bad time, but I just wanted to call. Nobody wants to hear that shit either. I don't want to hear that. I don't want you to call me all apologetic, all afraid, all whispering to me. F off. If you're calling me, have something to say. If something to say worth listening to, let's chat, right? But don't do any of that fake shit and you'll be fine. All right. Next question. Yes, Federico, this video is going to be recorded. Probably going to have to edit it down a little bit, but maybe make sure if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, just you know how to do this on YouTube. Just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Thank you very much. Let me do this myself now. Oh, I can't. Hit the like button if you like this Q&A session, and subscribe to the video. We're going to probably have it up by tomorrow. And you're going to be able to rewatch it. You're going to be able to share it with your team. Absolutely. We're going to get that for you, no problem. Next question, outbound or inbound? What is your best method? Again, there's no universal answers in the universe. This is the best for everybody. For us at Close, we have invested in inbound marketing a long time ago, from day one, really. And we've built a very, very big and very successful inbound machine. So that works really, really fantastic for us. So we just keep adding fuel to the fire, making our inbound machine bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. For teams that have been completely outbound and that find difficult to connect with their prospects right now, maybe now is the time where you're going to have to change strategy, engage with people more on social media, create more content. But the problem with inbound, so the great thing about outbound is that you can start now and you can go from 0 to 100 real quick. And you can decide who you want to call, who you want to email, who you want to reach out to, and when. It's all within your power. That's the beauty of outbound. But if nobody picks up, if nobody wants to hear from you, then outbound might not work for a time. The beauty of inbound is that once the machine is running, it's never ending, right? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's building momentum. We could stop doing any inbound activities, any content marketing, any SEO, anything today. We could stop, and still we would get thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people every single week on all our content, because we're getting so much organic traffic, we're ranking so highly, and because we have this massive library that we built up over 7 years now that keeps generating inbound traffic for us. If you start with inbound today, I'm telling you, you're not doing it so the next month looks good. You're doing it so 6 months from now, you start having a second channel that keeps growing and growing and growing and growing, but you're going to have some patience. Now, 6 months might seem like a lot of time to you right now, but believe you me, the best time to start an inbound machine was 5 years ago. The second best time is today, right? It's that old Chinese proverb, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today, right? We all know this. Time flies. Before you know it, 6 months are going to be gone. And there's going to be two types of teams. The teams that did nothing 6 months, kept trying doing outbound when it wasn't working. If it's not working, for some companies it is. But they kept doing the thing that wasn't working, complaining, getting angry, being anxious, being stressed, and being broke. And 6 months from now, they're still in the same position. And there's the other teams that started saying, well, if what we're doing isn't working, it's time to do something different and something new. Started investing in different channels, different markets, different customers. And 6 months from now they're starting to make some money, right? And another 6 months from now, they might be rocking and rolling while the other team is not around anymore because the company didn't survive it. So if you can do both outbound and inbound, if you've done outbound and it isn't working anymore, now's the time maybe to invest a little bit in inbound, but you have to be patient with it. All right, that's it for today's Q&A session. As always, you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for your attention, for giving me your time, giving me your attention, giving me your energy. I really appreciate it. You're going to get an email from us with a recording of the video. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you're going to get a notification that it's up probably by tomorrow. And if you like this, we've done, I think this is the third or fourth session, and people keep emailing us that they want more and that they find them useful. So as long as you find them useful, we're going to keep doing them. So just let us know. Send us a tweet, send us an email, give us feedback. And then until next time, please stay safe, stay sane, and keep selling. All right. Bye-bye to everybody. Take care.